Yo, family, what is good? Welcome back to another Crypto Casper live stream, where in today's stream, we're going to be focusing quite a bit on Dr. Martin Hiesboeck, the head researcher for Uphold Exchange, who basically just requoted a post we have seen from BSCN, which is a very, very big Twitter account with 1.3 million followers, with just a simple caption of 2026 be the year of the Casper. So this stream is going to be focusing on some, not so much crypto updates, a fundamental updates, although we'll get to that a little bit, but more so just some Casper updates and also some big future predictions from leading firms, and equally the AI revolution. Some of my premium insights, my institutional sources, I'm going to be showcasing in this stream from the likes of Nvidia and what they have seen from AI, and ultimately why AI is going to be huge. And this is something that Casper's tapping into as well. To remind you, Casper are going to be tapping into AI. Igra Labs co-founder Pavel already confirmed that AI agents are running on Igra Labs, and we'll see a lot more of that coming through soon. And we also should know that DII Desert Energy are aiming to build data centers in the Middle East, and they're doing so on Casper. You can watch my video, which I've got the post here on my Twitter, or equally you can watch that video on my YouTube channel right here to understand exactly what I'm referring to here. It's a very, very big deal, and ultimately why I remain bullish on Casper. Now, if you look at the market chart, Bitcoin is currently valued at 70,000, so it's nice to see us regain that level. Currently trading above this level of support here. We would love to realistically see Bitcoin make that push up to the 78k zone again. The predictions that our experienced trader C Crypto had made last Sunday even, it still very much holds true right now. The fact that 78k is a critical level for the markets and will determine very much so whether Bitcoin's going to potentially make another move upwards or continue to consolidate or even start chopping back downwards in the not too long term. As it stands right now, we have got some big stuff coming out next week in regards of potential escalation between the US and Iran. We got other developments, which we spoke about in the last stream, and I'm honestly, memory's fading me right now. I'm pretty sure I made some replies about it, so I can quickly double check that. Yes, in respect of the government, the Supreme Court, that was it. Supreme Court, they're set to hopefully make their verdict on Trump's tariffs on Friday. Now, here's the thing. As I stated in the last stream, I'm not paying too much mind to that. Of course, it's still in the back of my mind, and it should be in our minds, because the verdict on that could very well sway the market quite significantly. Against tariffs will go down most likely. For tariffs will probably send a massive sharp push upwards. But the Supreme Court has said on 3 or 4 occasions now that we are going to rule on Trump's tariffs, and have pulled out every single time. So ultimately, just wait and see. If they get their verdict, then great. If they don't, they've got until May. So they've still got time, and it will come through. But Bitcoin is currently trading at 70k. That's all good. ETH is at 2,059. Casper currently valued at 0.0329, or just short of 3.3 cents right now. It is just trading above this level of support here in and around the 3.2 zone. It is meeting its next level of kind of sub resistance here, and frankly everything between this zone is like the zone I'm looking at, but there are like smaller incremental zones in between it. Evidently there's one in and around the zone we're at right now, as you can see on the number of occasions we have been rejected at the zone. 3 days here, 2 days here, and 2 days currently here at around 3.36. so if you want to see Casper make that push up to the top of the support band here of 3.6 cents, you realistically need to see Casper finish today's trading day above 3.38, which currently we're down 1.41, so it's not looking likely. But that's fine by me, I guess, to accumulate more cheap Casper. And given the market trajectory right now, I'm still not full bullish, in the sense of I still think we could see some pullbacks, which would be fine. We've got more time to accumulate for what's going to happen this year. And I'll be looking to potentially take either a short or long trade, potentially giving on the market sentiment. Actually, our trade has been doing quite a lot in the VIP recently. I think we saw about 4 or 5 trades put in. Yeah, Chartflow put in 2 or 3, or one or two. And then Lambo popped off yesterday, putting in 4 different trades, 2 of which came through. One got a 10% up, so 100% with 10x leverage. So Yeah, the trading's doing very well right now. If you want to participate in that, of course, you can check out the VIP. Links to that are down below in the description. Now, as we look at the chart, we can see that nothing's really moving. And we know it's going to be the case for some time. Nothing's really causing much momentum. You know, even gold and silver is not really moving much right now either. But what is important, as we continuously reiterate, is the fundamentals, or even so the developments, because this is what correlates to price movements down the line. As Dr. Martin Hiesboeck stated, who is the head of research at Uphold, someone who has quoted, or someone who has said, and I quote, Bitcoin was the Casper testnet. He is now saying that 2026 will be the year of the Casper. This is in response to this document here from BSCN, which when BSCN first started talking about Casper, we were all very bullish about it because, you know, 1.3 million follower account talking about Casper is huge, and it is, no discredit to that, but they've been doing it for a while now. So I don't pay too much mind to their posts anymore because they cover generic stuff that we should already know. This post here is a generic update in regards to what's coming up for Casper soon, regarding the covenants and the hard fork that should be coming out for May 5th, 2026, which is about 3 months or so from now. Not far off. We can go on a Cast Live actually, and we should be able to see what the time countdown currently is. 78 days and 11 hours until the proposed hard fork. Now, just to make that reiteration, this is a proposed date. It's not set in stone. Michael Sutton and the core devs want to aim to release this hard fork for May 5th, 1 year anniversary of the Crescendo hard fork, happened in May 2025, but we haven't got any direct confirmation it's going to happen then, so we have to wait and see. But either way, it's still a really exciting development and something that's going to be very, very bullish for Casper in regards of just potential adoption as well, and that could correlate to the price. Testnet 12 reset happened earlier. You've got the Secret Commitment, the KIPs, Silverscript was released, and that has been very well received to the point where even Shy, shout out to Shy, but Shy, who's been, I would say, understandably quite negative on Casper recently, he has come out in full support of Silverscript, praising Oye Newman for the work he's done on that because it has so much potential to give so many more benefits in regards to also helping the adoption for Casper in the near term and prevent the possibility that VPOGs are rushed and therefore cause issues, therefore damaging Casper's reputation. So Silverscript is huge, and we're going to see a lot more coming out as a result of that as well. This post also goes into the difference between native assets and covenants and all this sort of stuff. The X7 covenants, what is this CDAG, elements of like what VPOGs are and how they differ from smart contracts, all stuff that we have covered in the past as well, and the role that ZK plays, which we have spoken about. And I'll reiterate one big reason for ZK. I mean, there are many benefits to ZK, but the one that I highlight repeatedly, because this is the institutional sentiment side of things, is the areas in privacy it can help. Of course, there are, like I said, many benefits, but the privacy element is something that institutions are paying a lot of close mind to right now. And as I keep scrolling down through my Twitter, I'll eventually get to the part where I talk about ZK and quote documents from Coinbase right here. And you can see here in the document from Coinbase, the 2026 crypto market outlook, they talk in one part about the trends that bind, demand for privacy. Privacy has remained an enduring pillar of the crypto movement. Technologies like ZKP, zero knowledge proofs, particularly like ZK snarks and starks, these are fully homomorphic encryptions and are becoming the cornerstone of the evolution, the demand for stuff like privacy. That's why Monero, Zcash is so well. That's why CC has been performing a lot better as of late. Currently down 3% for CC. I'm not surprised by that. I have mentioned it that I'm looking into it. I'm waiting for slightly better entries if they do shine a light on that. But there are going to be more opportunities throughout the whole market. I still think we have more downside ahead of us. We'll have to just wait and see where it goes from here. We've seen a lot of these assets touch the zones we were talking about, like Bethesda Tau, for example. We mentioned that this was quite a good zone I was looking at for accumulating Tau. We saw it touch that on Thursday, and now I have made a bit of a push back to the zone again, but we could see Tau come back down there again. Render, similarly, I'm still hoping and waiting to see Render come down to the bottom level down here. Frankly, these zones here are areas that I am happy accumulating at. Of course, that's my own belief. Do your own research, not financial advice. But these are areas that I'm looking at where I would be happy to accumulate. If you go down lower, that's perfectly fine. But these are areas that I think are very discounted. So when the markets do return, we can see it go up a lot higher. This zone here that Render's currently in is $1.63. to $1.19. But the area that I would really love to accumulate render at would be between 94 cents to $1.05. That would be my ideal. We'll have to wait and see when or if that pans out. There are many other assets, of course, that I'm looking into, and you can find all of that stuff as we talk in these streams daily or equally. My whole playbook, which provides the assets our VIP is looking into, alongside the deep dive into them. So the tokenomics behind the project, what the project's about, their partnerships, the rumors and negative facts about them as well, so you know what you're getting yourself into. All of that stuff you can find in the VIP, in the playbook, in the Google Docs, which all are links to join are down below in the description. But we've got some big others coming up for Casper to make that segue back into it. Now, Casper is in a unique position, I would say, especially because we're now starting to see some real institutional adoption or traction coming towards the project, courtesy of KRI and DRI. DRI, I think it's an interesting story behind DRI in the sense that understandably quite a number of investors who are probably driven by the emotional side of things, or they just either that or they are well within their right to be like, we need to have actual evidence, proof of such. And it's hard to see actual evidence and proof of KRI and DRI and the utilization of Casper because, well, they're institutionally driven. They're not going to show their stuff to retail. We have seen quite a fair amount of documentation though, which does state they're using Casper. I choose to trust and believe in KRI deeply and DRI, and I think they're going to be a massive catalyst for Casper. And they've got a lot of stuff they're building right now. We know they've got Gigawatt, ZETEX, Warp Core. More recently, they announced Egen Flow, also GeoSil. You have Olive Chain as well. As it stands right now, to our knowledge, the projects that are currently up and running that have been publicly announced is Warp Core in a sandbox environment that's being used by banks right now to trade credit swaps. And apparently it's doing very, very well. It'll probably take, according to Rory, about a year for it to be fully like online and used. So we've got some time. But it's still good to see it's going well. And of course, by that point, you'll see VPROGs likely out and other elements that will make these projects that KRI have that much better and that much more desirable by big banks. You have Egen Flow, which is currently out as well, which my summary of it, whether it's completely accurate or not, my summary of Egen Flow for KRI is basically just the institutional side of Binance. Imagine Binance, but fully institutionalized. That's what I think Egen Flow is for KRI. And then you've got GeoSil, which is so significant, is a proof of place and proof of existence, which, what's more, if you're in the VIP or even if you tune to some of these streams, you would have seen me post documentation from the likes of Dow Jones and many other documentation, truth be told, which their main argument or their main point they make is we need proof now. We can't be just trusting. You know, we need proof that what is happening is working as intended. I'm going to scroll down to find this Dow Jones. Or here it is, Dow Jones here. Well, it talks about this first off being that in 2026, the winners won't be companies with the best product demos or highest valuations. Instead, they all boast sustainable economics, regulatory compliance, and balance sheet strong enough to survive the stress test ahead. We're going through that stress test right now, and I think Casper is most definitely in the strong spot for that. But where, did I have to go further down or did I miss it? I might have missed it, honestly. I think I missed it. Let me go up again quickly. But there was, here, I did just miss it. So you can see here, the AI hype of 2023 or 2021's crypto speculation won't repeat in 2026. So don't get me wrong, AI hype still very much here. And we're going to see it again this year. But what documentation, what sources like this is showcasing now. I'm going to get to this in a moment from NVIDIA. One of my premium insights I posted last night to my VIP is talking about how AI is going to be big, but it's not a hype thing anymore. They need actual evidence it's going to be working, you know? And same thing, the 2021 FOMO cycle we saw when Bitcoin went to 64K, came down 50%, went up to 69K. That's not the sort of thing we're going to see now. What we need now is actual guidelines. That's why crypto's not pumped, because we haven't got the market structure bill in place yet. Regulations need to be in place for institutions to feel confident enough to get into this space. Markets now demand accountability, proof, evidence, and demonstrations that crypto serves real economic needs. We need proof now, and KRI have a proof of place, proof of existence project that is running on top of Casper. You can track people's whereabouts, container shipments, whatever it may be. It is a very, very big deal in a decentralized manner. It's so significant. It's not tracking. It produces international event-based attestation only when invoked. So I'm very, very bullish on this as well. And why I still very much believe that Casper is in a good spot. We do know that Casper still lacks areas around listings. That's probably Casper's biggest shortfall right now. And the biggest reason why people are like, Casper's going to fall off. It's got no adoption. Be it that institutions right now drive the markets, not market makers and listings anymore, so much so. It's a valid point to make. We heard from Rory, we heard from Wolfie that some exchanges that are necessary, or what they require to get to consider a listing, are the support of Fire blocks and also Copper. And we have had apparently conversations with them in the past, albeit nothing as of late. But Wolfie did state in our Blockchain Banter live a few weeks back, right here with Wolfie and Seb, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, that they are going to talk and reach back out to them. Wolfie has some people in those spaces apparently, and he has reached back out to them as well. So this is great to see. We can only hope we hear an update soon. I'm sure we'll get all of these people back on the channel again at some point, because I know the insight from these people are very insightful, that they're helpful, because to give us an understanding. Because while we can always talk about what we see and all this stuff here, which is fantastic, hearing it from the inner side, from the minds who are actually in the spaces, is of course a great a broadening of the horizon, if you will. So we'll hear these people come back on the show at some point soon, I'm sure. And speaking of people we might see come back on soon as well, we got Casper. We had him already on the channel in the Blockchain Banter Tuesday night show with myself and Crypto Pumps. And we'll probably see him come back on again soon, considering they're updating and making so many big announcements right now. For example, just last night, I believe, or even yesterday morning, I should say, Casper said that for the last weeks, we've been in talks with several projects from other chains, trying to onboard them to Casper via Casplex. So we are seeing Casplex really, really up the ante right now, which is fantastic. And I think it's also quite timely in a, not in a boycott way, but in a competitive way. They're doing all this stuff now as IGRA is getting close to their mainnet launch. So the competition right now is scaling more and more, which is fantastic. So among other things, there's going to be more coming out. The Block SEC Arena, BSA, has offered a functionality to check the contract addresses for known potential scams. Many more updates to follow on many more different apps in the soon future. You can see his update here from BSA, a strategic partnership announcement. We're excited to announce that BCA has successfully deployed on Casplex, the first protocol of the Casper ecosystem, marking the beginning of a strategic collaboration with Casper's Layer 2 infrastructure. As scalable Layer 2s evolve around verifiable execution, which Casplex also made an announcement about very recently as well, security must evolve with them. Together with Casplex and the broader Casper ecosystem, we're building a safer, more resilient infrastructure for the next wave of high-performance blockchain applications. This is really, really cool here. I'm liking what's happening right now, and your opinions on IGRA and or Casplex are your own. I purposely don't make my I don't really have too much opinions on it. I think both are fantastic, and I think the more we see announcements coming out, we saw recently Hyperlane with IGRA, which allows for the deployment of stablecoins, which is huge. We're now seeing BSA, which is a big security upgrade for Casplex as well. So this is like, the more we see this sort of stuff, the more it should incentivize more strength and belief behind Casper and the Layer 2s, and that will also hopefully correlate to liquidity and volume and money flows back into the project. That will help subsidize the miners, help the project, help the price increase. But this takes time, right? It's not going to be an overnight thing, but this is great to see. Also, something else that could really very much help, although I'm slightly on the fence about this. You've got Cas.fun. I don't know what it's about. Apart from the fact that I can see from it's here. Launch meme coins on Casper that instantly tradable in one click. So it's like a different form of KRC20, or to be more exact, it's the Casper version of Pump Fund. Now, anybody who's been in the Solana trenches knows Pump Fund. It's I've made a lot of my money through Pump Fund, I'll be honest. So I think I made an astronomical like 20x at the end of 2024 on the AI meta, which I think I mentioned publicly already, but if I haven't, that's your first time hearing it. I made a massive like 20x on some ridiculous AI meta, got in and out on Pump Fund. it's a gamble. It is cool, and it's something that can bring a lot of volume into a project. Pump Funds brought so much liquidity into Solana, but it is a gamble in the truest sense. So while it's fun to see these sort of projects come out, and I'm not by any means slating Kaspa, it's just, as always, be careful and know what you hold. These memes are most definitely memes. I doubt they have any real utility. They're not like Nacho, they're not like Wolfie. While they are KRC in their memes, they have utility behind it. Wolfie has a whole restaurant business, soon to be chain, backing and subsidizing the project. Nacho is connected to every aspect of Casper's ecosystem, helping them stay afloat as well. We just recently saw, for better or for worse, or unfortunately saw Kango up and leave and just disappear because they haven't got the funding. They just bailed and just left everyone out to dry, which is, whether their reasoning is justified or not, it's still not right to take people's money like that. But that comes down to the issue of Kango, which was their utility elements weren't enough to subsidize them. They couldn't continue taking money out of their own pocket. They have no liquidity flow to come back in, which is why I still hold Wolfie and Nacho, because they have those elements in them. That was just a little tangent or rant from me, but Kaspa is something that should be coming out, building on top of Casplex, which could be pretty cool. No ETA just yet, but things are on the works right now. So this will be another exciting application that will be built on top of Casper that could also help in the liquidity coming back into the project. Because remember when KRC first came out, especially with the CG era, Crypto Galaxy era, his community, while taking advantage of a lot of it as well, they made some ridiculous money through KRCs. Because it's memes, it's gambling, right? The benefit of memes and these sort of assets, if you want to call them that, is purely a gamble, but the potential to make insane gains in a very short fashion, but it's risky. I've dabbled myself, I've made gains from them, and I plan to make more, because later on this cycle, there's no doubt that AI agents are going to be a huge matter again. And we'll get to that right here and now. So we'll start on this document right here. This is from NVIDIA. This is something that I posted to my VIP community just last night. It was actually a combination post where it talked about this NVIDIA post here, the state of AI and finance 2026 trends, and also this here from EBO, where they just said that by 2026, so end of this year, AI will not be an add-on to core systems. It will be the core. At EBO, our AI-powered solutions across regulated sectors show the future of financial services will not be built on more tools, but on smarter orchestrations. AI that strengthens governance, supports employees, improves customer experience, and delivers compliant automation at enterprise levels. 2026 will not be defined by the rise of AI, but by the rise of responsible AI that fintech companies can trust. That is a very, very common thing we're seeing throughout all of the documents. And NVIDIA right now, they are the leading sector when it comes to producing AI because of their chips. So this is probably one of the most impactful, important documentations, getting the full understanding and insight from the front runner for AI right now. We found this, we got hold of this, we posted the whole documents, the links to such, and a small rundown in the VIP community right here, which you can join. Of course, once more, links are down below in the description. Get ahead of the markets, know what trends are coming through, where we are positioning ourselves, because we understand what institutes are looking into. Get involved in the trades that's going on right now, where we're making gains, actively, and so much more. All links are down below in the description. The roundtable we normally do on a Sunday today will not be going live. I had to make the announcements too, actually, but it will be taking place tomorrow. So if you join right now, you can also tune in live to tomorrow's roundtable, and find out exactly how we are preparing for the market ahead, the short, medium, and even long term going forward. We'll cover this document in more detail tomorrow, I'm sure, as well. But to go into a little bit about it, one thing I wanted to talk about in particular, just to highlight it, is this here. Just this top part here. You say AI's return on investment is clear. It's clear now that 89% of leading institutional firms have said that AI has helped to both increase annual revenue and reduce annual costs. When pretty much, or 89, pretty much 90% of institutions have said AI has offered nothing but benefits in regards to costs. So they're saving money on AI and making more money. Why would they stop? There's no reason for them to do that at all. 52% cited operational efficiency as one of the top ways AI has improved their businesses in the last year. AI is impacting organizations' top and bottom lines. 83% of respondents reported seeing a return of investment in AI use cases, highlighting by solutions in document processing, document management, and customer experience. Additionally, 89% of respondents reported that AI both increased annual revenue and decreased annual costs. More than half of respondents talking about operational efficiency as the one top ways AI has improved their business, and AI has also boosted employee productivity, with 48% saying it's been one of the biggest benefits to their businesses, up from 22% last year. And also AI has moved from pilot to prevalence, where it went from 45% in 2024, and now 65% of institutions are using AI. So AI is growing more and more. There is zero doubt about it. It's very, very evident that AI is taking over, and this correlates right back to what Pavel said in our show last week about the growth of AI and how significant it's going to be, and ultimately why. And it's understandable because people think we're in a bubble, and I get it, and I would argue we are in a bubble for AI, but it's not a bubble that's going to burst just yet. We are at that inflection point for AI. We are about to see a massive takeoff from that, and that's why projects that are dabbling in AI, which frankly they all are now, they're going to perform very, very well. Casper's doing that now. Projects that are AI, at their core, if you will, BitTensor, Tau, Render, Virtuals. These are assets that I've been looking into for a little bit now, trying to find the perfect entries for such, because I believe they are going to perform very, very well when the time is right. Look at all these assets that performed fantastic when the new year started, because they are AI. Virtuals did almost a 2x at the start of the year. Render, at the start of the year, did a 2x. BitTensor Tau didn't do as much, did a 36%, but it did show a lot of strength. The other assets that we're looking into now in our playbook, one of such being Power, which is a very, very high risk. So of course, as always, at your own discretion. But this one at the beginning of the year did a 4.5x. We are on the scout, making sure we are in these assets in the right markets for when the time is right, when AI trend does take off again. So once more, to get ahead of the game, get the insights, knowing what's going to happen to the markets, what's going to move the markets, what assets are going to move. You can check out the VIP. Now, I will get into some more sources. Before I do, I see we've got some very sleepy people in the chat today. Welcome, family. I thank you very much for being here at this early hour. We had Devious here first, brother. Welcome back, my man. Everyone's sleeping, indeed. Casper Queen, welcome back. Very sleepy, but excited to listen in. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I know it's a very, very early stream, but for one, couldn't do it last night. I was out working, didn't get back till I think past midnight, and I was like, yeah, I can't go live this late, and even then I'm doing the same thing tonight. So figured I'd at least get a stream out so we can get through the content. And those who are watching on playback, welcome. Hopefully you're enjoying the content so far as well. Welcome back, Vassell. You're doing very, very well. Everyone is shouting market crash, but the max pain is the big rally. I mean, we are seeing. Yeah, although, once more to reiterate, I still would not be surprised to see us go lower. And that's not me trying to drive FUD. And I'm not saying it's going to happen either. We saw Bitcoin have a bit of a mass flash crash to 60k, which does seem to be a bottom level right now, but we are by no means in the clear. We had some very good macro data recently. Last week we had a great non-farm payroll job report. And we also then saw inflation significantly beat expectations. It came down, CPI. Now, of course, the Fed look at PCE, not CPI, so maybe it doesn't matter too much. But either way, inflation came down, which means tariffs ain't doing nothing. All the leading economists and the Fed who are saying that tariffs cause inflation, there was a momentary blip in inflation when tariffs were first issued, but they have not impacted inflation at all right now, evidently, because inflation is coming down. So that is reassuring news. I don't think we're going to get rate cuts. At least not under Jerome Powell. Maybe we'll be lucky in end of April in his last FOMC meeting. But we are seeing the macro coming back stronger, which does mean when the new Fed chair comes in, be it Kevin Walsh, be it whoever it is, when the new Fed chair comes in and starts cutting rates, he'll be cutting rates into a strengthening economy. That is going to be so bullish for risk on. And AI is going to start taking off more so as well. So that's great. So that's something to look forward to. But at the same time, you've still got other elements that could still very much impact the markets and send it the other way, send it down in the short term, being these geopolitical tensions. Also, the midterms. The midterms, the voting process, the whole electoral campaign process starts in March. The actual finalization of the date is in November. So you've got that 6-month time frame where you'll see a lot of campaigning, a lot of Dems versus Republicans. Of course, Dems want to win so they can take control of the House, because right now the Republicans control all 3 areas of government. We'll see how that pans out, of course. If the Dems do take control of the House, that could very much impact the growth of crypto, because, Trump has been very supportive of crypto and wanted to send it sky high. Wallet has not really done that right now. He has been more supportive of that, whereas them taking more control of the House could therefore limit more of the freedom that Trump would have to try and pass laws and legislations and bills and executive orders that would hopefully benefit the markets. But yeah, be that as it may, you've got midterm elections to look out for, which more of a midterm thing, but you've got the geopolitical tensions that are the main short-term catalyst. What's happening between Iran and the US right now is the main thing on everybody's minds. And of course, then next week being the Supreme Court deciding on whether the tariffs are legal or not, which, considering how tariffs have impacted the figures on the economy side, if they were to vote against it, you'll probably see investor sentiment go down quite significantly, considering that evidently tariffs have not impacted inflation too badly. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, I still think that we can go down in the short term. We are definitely at that max pain level. If you look at CMC, you can see we're at the 13 in extreme fear. We were actually lower earlier as well. And we could go lower. I'm not opposed to the fact that we can go lower, but that's fine. Again, I'll accumulate when it's down, and I'll make the gains going back up as well. Welcome back, Wing Hong, bro. We moon yet? Far from it. But hopefully our time will come. Welcome back, WD, my man. You're doing very, very well, brother. And you too, Gosu. What's up, my man? And you too, Devious Me. Are you accumulating Casper right now, or waiting until it goes lower? Casper's been the only asset I've continued accumulating and DCAing into. Most of the assets, I did buy some in the new year, and I've already taken some profits in them because markets are not moving as anticipated, or more so, markets were moving as anticipated in the new year with the AI trend, and everything was going up when 2026 started, and then we saw more drama, more geopolitical tensions, more tariffs announced, and the markets reverted back down again. When that happened, I knew to get out. So Casper's the only one I continue to accumulate because I have utmost faith in Casper. Everything else, I'm waiting for lower levels, which I've mentioned in VIP, and I've mentioned some of them publicly as well, what zones I'm looking into certain assets as potentially good zones. And don't get me wrong, like, some of these zones can go lower than the zones I put out. It's very possible, but it's like, for example, our trader, chart flows, to give a little snippet of VIP content, he said, and he's right in saying that I think anything under $85 Solana is a great time to accumulate. Yeah, anything below $85 is a great time to accumulate Solana, and I completely agree. Does it mean it will go lower? Yes, I mean, look, it went lower. But it doesn't matter if it goes lower. Solana being one of the top, 5 big assets, it will recover. It will recover. I see it. It's very unlikely that Solana won't recover. Anything below 85 is a great place to accumulate, because if it turns to all-time highs, you're looking at a comfortable 4x, at least. And I know we're in the crypto market, so we very much are used to like 50x's and high gains and whatnot. But now we're getting into the institutional space as well. Most of these institutions are used to holding stocks, whatever, for a year. Well, holding it for a long period of time. In the span of a year, they'll make, a 40% gain on their investment? The point being is, we're used to crypto, so we're used to really, really high gains and massive high risk and making stupid multipliers. But as the space matures, and you'll see they're still in this space, but as the space matures, those multipliers will not be as significant. It'll be making kind of gains going up. 4x is great. A 4x is fantastic. You shouldn't be always trying to find the high risk 50x's. Now, Casper can very much be that, given its minute market cap and its potential to go up a lot higher. But I don't always go on the scout for it. I like when I do my playbook, I look at assets that have strong fundamentals, but are big assets. Like I've got AVAX in that list because I think AVAX is also quite a strong asset. Also does dabble in the gaming sector as well, which I think is also very important. Now, of course, AVAX has a massive multiplier ahead of it as well if it does return to that all-time high, where it's at right now. It's a 6-7x or so. So it could do very, very well. But I'm not banking on that fact. I would be happy with AVAX making a 3x from here, and then just taking gains and getting out. Like I'm not always looking for the massive multipliers. I've got my high risk plays like POW, but everything else is like, okay, cool. This is something that I think could do well. Tangent aside again. Point being is I'm accumulating Casper, but otherwise then everything else I'm waiting for a lower entry because I think there are lower entries to come still. Greetings, Tim. Greens for Down Under. Buying opportunities, continue CA on conviction. As you should. Great to hear it. Love that. Thank you for being here, my man. Spain is cooked soon. It will become the new Caliphate AI. I have no idea what that means. I'm assuming you're saying that AI is rolling out significantly in Spain. Which I mean, yeah, I mean those elements are coming around all over the place. I know that. I mean the UK is still cooked. I think the UK right now are leading a movement of kind of stricter regulations and verifying and whatnot and restricting people's freedom. And I think most countries are following in suit. Yeah. What is more risky in your opinion right now, Solana? That can either do a 4x or Casper. I mean, it's a good question. I think I mean, on a technicality, I guess it would be Casper's more risky because it's not as proven yet as Solana. Solana's battle tested. Solana's been around for a long time, so by extension, Solana is quote unquote guaranteed to make a 4x. Of course, not financial advice. Of course, do your own research. But Casper, for me, I wouldn't even clarify it as risky. Now, it's on a technicality, right? Solana's bigger, I've been around for longer, therefore it's guaranteed more so than Casper to make a gain. But for me, Casper, given its architecture, given what it's building, given its connections already, I still don't see why Casper can't doing fantastic in this cycle. As even Dr. Martin Hiesboeck says that 2026 is going to be the year for Casper, and I agree with that. So, from my perspective, I would say that it's probably more riskier that Solana doesn't make it than Casper in regards to your parameters. But on a technicality, it's Solana. I would personally just say neither of them are that risky. That's how I would clarify it in respects. Of course, anything in investing is risky, so also do so at your own discretion. No, Al, not AI. Okay, I mean, I will quickly look that up and do a Google search. I am not well versed in respect of what this is. Was it? Oh, so that era was a peak political, cultural, and economic era, Muslim ruled territory. Okay. Wait, am I looking at the right thing? Why is it? Okay, it's in French now. Translate it, please. I wish I could speak French. I wish I could speak another language. I'll learn. Okay. It was powerful. Yeah, so it's a Muslim state. Okay, so I'm guessing you're saying that that France is got a lot of immigration. I'm guessing that's the point you're making. A lot of people coming over. Is that the point? And if that's the case, then I mean, I mean, the point that the UK is a very similar space right now, and like it's happening all over. But that's partly due to the fact of also a lot of the places in the other parts. If that is the case you're making about Muslims, other people coming over, it's also partly because in a lot of these Muslim countries there is a lot of warfare going on, so they have to seek asylum or just seek exile elsewhere because they're not safe where they're at. But the kind of the biggest issue is the cultural difference. The biggest issue with the immigration and other people coming over to you wherever you live, your country, is the cult. Like for example, in the UK, the culture in the UK is the culture in the UK is very, very different to the culture in like the Middle East or something like that. So it does cause that kind of divide. You know, that's kind of that's currently I think that's the aspect that isn't probably considered that much, or maybe not as much as it should be. And that's what also caused a lot of these issues, because you know how people in the UK perceive people who are not from the UK is always very, very negative. I think it's quite a common thing no matter where you're from. I know French. I know, like, I've gone to France. People did not like me being in France just because I'm not French, and that's fine. But it's a difference in culture as well. Like when you go to parts in Asia, when I went to Japan, like I did very well in Japan when I went there because I very much know their culture, so I knew how to follow along with it, and therefore I blend in. What people want more than anything is for people to blend in. You could be from wherever you are. If you blend in, they won't care. But blending is the hard part. Do you have a goal to accumulate Casper, or just as much as possible? I had a goal, surpassed it. Now I'm just doing whatever I can whenever I can. I'm just stacking. Like I have so much conviction in Casper that I'm not worried about it going wrong, you know. So I made my goal already. I'm just stacking more so now. Also another post here, probably a penultimate post here as well, actually, for today's stream. Vitaly made a massive kind of post here, which I think is quite interesting and potentially the next movement, and once more coinciding with that AI stuff. So he said here that recently I've been starting to worry about the state of prediction markets in their current form. They have achieved a certain level of success, market volume is high enough to make meaningful bets and have a full-time job as a trader, and they often prove useful as a supplement to other forms of news media. Goes on more and more and more. He basically is just saying here that prediction markets are fantastic, but the problem is they've now become more so just gambles. That's the problem. They've now become over converging, and they become just a gambling element, which is, I think, very, very fair. The prediction markets are very short term looked at now. That's why whenever I do my technical analysis, I provide multiple insights. I know it's like therefore covering all bases, but it's the fact of the matter being is like I will very much be like, okay, so what's happening in the news right now? Well, you know, if geopolitics happens, bad macro, like these developments will cause market swings up or down. And then you have to look into what's being pushed out in the medium to long term and how that could potentially impact the investment side of things as well. But prediction markets have very much become a big kind of gamble element, and they kind of just go based on, they don't really tend to expand out of just kind of the bubble they're in crypto. They don't expand into other elements of research that I do, for example. They wouldn't expand to this sort of stuff, at least not in this depth. So Vitaly is kind of proposing an idea which actually ends up utilizing LLMs, learning language modules, or like AI elements, basically, where he's talking about how you basically would ditch the fiat currencies and whatnot, and you would just end up using AI to create kind of baskets, using AI to help you create a basket of assets that would be stable enough, that act more so like insurance tools, like stocks, I guess, something that's not going to be as volatile, as risky. We do not need fiat currency at all. People can hold stocks, ETH, or whatever else to grow wealth and personalize prediction markets shares when they want stability. So it's interesting. I thought it was an interesting post. I think it's worth reading through. Vitaly posted on Twitter about it, just talking about how a lot of traders right now just, they become naive. They just info buyers, like they just people who are just making negative like estimated value. Prediction markets have become very much just gamble PvP elements, and he thinks that with AI we can turn that to being an actual beneficial tool that looks for stability as opposed to just looking for quick gains. And I think that's the next step for crypto, honestly. The next step for crypto is this evolution, because crypto went from being this cyberpunk base to a place to make quick gains. And now, with institutional adoption being here, the next evolution step is not about making quick gains, it's about having sustainability and proof and evidence that things are going to work out as intended. We're going towards a utility-driven cycle now. You'll still have your FOMO, you're still going to exist, there's no doubt about that. But we're in a utility-driven cycle. Those that actually offer real benefits are the assets that are going to perform very well. And the next step is not going from predicting hype and dump, it is predicting the long term. You know? So that's something I think is going to happen as well going forward. You might see this also coming on Casper soon. On a penultimate or final point now, BYDFI made a post here saying that there are, I think there are well over 200 builders or hackers, if you will, in the Caspathon who are in teams, and there are now currently 32 projects. 32 projects in the Caspathon, which is exciting stuff, very, very big, and the final date for that is quickly approaching. Tomorrow, I believe, is the final deadline. No, sorry, it is today. Today is the final deadline for Caspathon. So after that, you'll start seeing the reward ceremony, who wins and whatnot, and seeing these projects. And there could be some big exciting stuff coming to Casper. Hopefully see a lot more coming soon enough as well. But this is cool stuff. So Casper's still building a lot right now. Casper building a lot. And we are in a very strong spot, I would say. A very, very high FUD, high fear, low level, but strong spot nonetheless in regards to what's going to be coming to the space in the months to follow. I think I'm going to play this video here finally from Grayscale, from Peter Mintzberg, who's the CEO, just talking about how they remain bullish in the long term for crypto, and you can hear exactly why. So take a quick listen.
It's important to acknowledge the short-term pain in portfolios, many people with their portfolios down and volatility, but you have to zoom out. And I was having this conversation with an institutional client recently. If you look what's happening structurally in the asset class, we have the most favorable regulatory outlook ever for this asset class. Not saying it's perfect, but it's moving generally in the right direction. There's still more work to be done there. Second, we have really adoption reaching escape velocity. In the US, you have wealth platforms that represent $50 trillion of assets with little to no allocation to the asset class now coming online, among other type of clients. And third, you were seeing use cases going mainstream. I see a lot of sessions in this conference about tokenization, stablecoin. We have over half of Fortune 500 companies saying they're actively working on blockchain initiatives and crypto initiatives. Each one of these three things in itself would represent an incredible amount of tailwinds for the asset class, and they're all happening at the same time. So I would say despite the short-term volatility and the pain, which I think it's important to acknowledge, we remain very bullish over the long term. We're investing, we're hiring, we're launching products, we continue building, and we have a very good outlook for the asset class.
And I think that is precisely the kind of generic points I'm making these streams every day. It's just the fact that short term is very volatile. We have to acknowledge that, and we have to also analyze where the markets can go and what's going to cause a volatility. But the long term still looks strong. And if you still don't believe me, keep tuning to these streams every single day. Subscribe if you're new. Watch the videos that come out when they do. Or better yet, come join the VIP. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of documents in there. Confidential, private, institutional documents, which are them talking amongst themselves, but in their outlook on what the stats are saying, what they believe. They are so bullish on this space. On crypto, on AI, on tokenization, on stablecoins, they are so bullish, and they have all the evidence ahead of them which suggests that this is going to be a big year, off the back of regulations coming out, off the back of the improving architecture, off the back of institutions adopting this space. So you can come find out more of the information in there, tune into the weekly live streams we're doing there as well, get insights onto the assets we're looking into in question, stuff like Casper. I've not made a document on Casper, but we of course are holding Casper in there. I'll probably make a document on Casper at some point for the sake of it, but Casper, of course, we've got AI assets we're looking into as well, real world assets, other assets that we think can do very well. So you can look into the playbooks and also take part in the trades that are happening in there frequently, making gains during these markets and this volatile times, because we're still making gains in the markets right now. We're not actually down at all. This week's been fantastic. This week, we've had, when the week started, we put in, I think, that's the 6th, the 9th there. We put in, I think, about 6 trades this week or so, and so far 2 of them are still ongoing and 3 of them have come through winning. So yeah, it's looking good right now. It's looking very, very good. So once more, if you want to find out more, by all means, check out the VIP links, of course, are down below in the description. You sign up right now, you get a 7-day free trial as well. And you can learn a lot more in there as well. Or you can get a 1-month free trial through our affiliate exchange, BYDFI, which the links and information about how to do that is down below in the description. Oh, down in my free Discord server even. Welcome back, Brett, bro. Thank you very much for watching on playback. And hopefully you enjoyed today's stream. Ghost, who just says, Jay, I lived in Osaka, and it's not really true what you're saying. Japan rather go extinct than lose their cultural heritage and their traditions. Seppuku has been highly ranked in centuries. Anyway, my point is the replacement of your culture to maintain survivability is not the Japanese way. Replacement. Maybe I misspoke. I know Japan. Japan's a very culturally rich place. I'm very much aware of that. I'm very much aware that Japan's a very culturally rich place. So maybe I misspoke or maybe I misexplained it. My point was that if you adopt their culture, when I say blend in, so when I went to Japan, I understand the Japanese culture based on my research and my love for anime. So I understand, I even did research beforehand, so I didn't end up offending anybody. You know, I even learned very basic Japanese phrases, so if I made a mistake, I could at least just have the common decency to apologize, because I know that's a very forward thing as well in Japan. What I meant is that everywhere has their own cultures. The UK actually hasn't really got a culture, if I'm being honest. UK is very much different cultures all blended into one. Areas like Japan are very culturally rich, and I know that, and I actually love that about Japan. That's why I loved it so much. They would prefer that you blend in. Most places prefer you just blend in with their culture. That's the point I was trying to make. So yeah, in a sense, I guess, yeah. So replace your own culture. Oh, replacement of your own culture to maintain stability is not Japanese way. Oh. Maybe I'm just tired or something, but I feel like there's a contradictory. Japan would rather go extinct than losing their cultural heritage. So but that's the point I'm making. But you're saying that Japanese way is not to replace your own culture. Okay. Well, I mean, that's your belief, and if that's what you're saying, you've lived in for 4 years, then I'll take your word on that. I think that blending in has that benefit. But I know, for example, in Japan, if you blend, you're welcome, but no to change their way. Oh no, I'm not saying they would change their way. No, not at all. I'm not expecting them to change their. Oh, so you're saying, yeah, blend in, but don't change their. Yeah, I wasn't trying to say to change their way. No. Yeah, I'm not saying that Japan. Okay, I think I'm getting what you're saying a bit more. So you're saying that in respect of when you're talking about this up here, you're saying that more people coming over Spain, and therefore it's shifting the culture, which is not what. And when I'm making the comparison to Japan, that's not what they want. They don't mind it if you blend in, but not to the point where you end up blending in, but then you end up changing their culture because they love their culture as it is. And that I agree with. If that's the point you're making, that I agree with that. Japan very much love, very basic stuff about Japan is when you go to Japan, if you're on the tube, for example, you're not meant to speak on the tubes, or I say tubes, the trains. You're not meant to speak at all. You don't speak on trains at all. You're just quiet. You get on the train. You just go back and forth. You're not meant to. Although I've heard contradictory beliefs about it from people who actually live in Japan saying it's fine, but you're not meant to eat in public either. Like if you're walking down the street, you're not meant to eat. You can drink, but you can't eat. Those sort of things, and like jaywalking is not a thing as well in Japan. Like that's a arrestable offense. You have to. And I'll be honest, that one I find a little ridiculous purely because there are some streets in Japan where the sidewalk, the crosswalk, the crossroads, they're literally an arm's length. They're no distance at all, but they've got a red light there, and you have people who just stop. And I'm like, I could take 2 long strides and cross over to the other side, but I have to stop at the red light. On bigger roads, fine, yes, definitely, wait, no jaywalking. But those ones, I'm like, not so sure about that. But hey, again, I'm very much going to blend with their culture and not impose. Also because I would definitely be targeted as not being part of from Japan. But anyways, yeah, okay, that is what I thought you meant. Cool. But then, yes, I agree completely. They very much want you to blend in, but not to replace their culture. But with that being said, family, that just now reached the hour mark. Or close to the hour mark even. Hope you enjoyed today's stream. The crypto content, even the generic just discussions that we have here. I do love having chat with you all. Hope you have a great weekend. People see waking up, especially the youth. I mean, my understanding of that era, I'm not educated on, so I can't make a comment on it, unfortunately. But you're both welcome to talk about it, by all means. But I will be closing up today's stream today. If you enjoyed, family, thank you so much for being here. Leave a like, share your friends, subscribe for more. Tomorrow's stream should be going live at the usual time, which is 7 p.m. UK time. If you want to find out more, of course, check out the Discord server, the free one and the VIP. All links are down below in the description. That being said, family, have a great day, good evening, and good night, or good morning. And I will see you all in the next one.